Alright, consider this. What if wanting to do something is the thing that is preventing us from doing anything at all? This is because wanting to do something is not the same as actually doing it. But we live in this social media, technology-focused world where we get trained for the quick, impulsive, dopamine-inducing fixes, and so our minds can easily orientate into the desire to do something. And I'm sure there's primal reasons for this as well. I mean, just doing something distracts you from your inner turmoil, your inner traumas, your inner body that is there at rest, the inner agitation feelings that you may feel when you silence your mind and you realize that there's all this stuff underneath. And so wanting to do something, believe it or not, is often the thing that traps us in not doing anything. I think this leads to a few issues. Number one, agitation to always do something. Number two, low quality actions, low quality decisions. Let's dive into number one, agitation to always do something. When you are agitated to always do something, you are essentially burning your energy. Your mind is very occupied in gratifying itself through quicker fixes. This leads to the sense of agitation, increased cortisol, and an overall feeling of unease. So when you actually work on your tasks, you aren't working on your tasks from a place of joy, openness, contentment, interest, spontaneity, but it's coming from a place of lower survival emotions. You could even link this to the trauma responses of fight, flight, freeze. And so part of you may be more in that fight or flight response. There is an attachment, there is a part of you that feels like this needs to be done, this needs to be worked on, I need to feel like I'm always doing something to distract myself. And I can make a whole another video on this. This is quite a in-depth topic. That's number one. It causes you into the state of agitation. Number two, low quality decisions and low quality actions. When you have an more agitated state, when you feel like you have to do, you aren't going to necessarily see the wider and bigger picture because you are essentially in a less mature and less conscious state. From an energetic point of view, you could say you are vibrating at a lower frequency. So this is going to cause you to make worse decisions or not see the bigger picture. The bigger picture is to zoom out of the situation and see the contraindications, to see what it relates to understand the why behind it, the purpose behind it. Is it meaningful? Is it developing you in some way? Is it purposeful to something that you have decided is purposeful? Is it something that is beneficial, that you consider to be beneficial? Now remember, purpose and benefit, these aren't things that are set in stone, these are things that you decide. So do you consider this to have some purpose? And you are creating that purpose. You are creating that, all right, I can see the reasons from this, the reasons that this is beneficial. I know the reasons. I know the why. I've decided the why. It's not about necessarily taking somebody else's why. I can see my why. I can see why I have decided to do this. And then the decision is no longer at a flat hierarchy. For example, we have all these different concerns in our lives. And what can happen, and I went through this stage, is things start to normalize into a flat hierarchy. It's very flat. Nothing's better than the other thing. It's like, is it better to browse my phone or watch a movie or read a book? And you are just filling up time, right? It's like you just want to do something. Oh, I just want to do something. I'm going to do this. I'm going to look at my phone. I'm going to, watch a movie. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. But the hierarchy and stepping into that hierarchical way of thinking is to realize, okay, this thing benefits me more, or this thing is more purposeful for me than these things. So you can start to construct a hierarchy, and this is something spontaneously that starts to be created in the mind. And this is created when you can consider and you can see the why, you can see the pros and you can see the cons are for you relatively speaking. And so then you can see, oh, okay, I want to do something, but I'm not going to use that I want to do something as an excuse to browse my phone, because I can recognize, I can see the bigger picture here, and I can see that there are more beneficial things that I've decided. Or let's say you're watching a movie, which is totally fine. I'm not shaming that. I watched a movie last night. It was amazing. Called Atonement. Highly recommend it. And let's say you're watching a movie. You can be a really purposeful consumer. In fact, some movies, they are awe-inspiring. They're life-changing. They change your mind. They change your perspective, right? And maybe if you watch 5 movies a day, then you'd be burned out from watching movies. But if you watch, one good movie every so often, and you recognize, okay, there are better movies than other movies. And you can see, okay, this is a hidden gem. This movie is actually shaping my perspective, changing my perspective, broadening my perspective. So coming from that point of view changes everything, because now there is a wider perspective, a wider understanding of the why, and a shift from the agitated energy of do, what should I do? I just want to fill up my time, I just want to do something, to now I can see all the thoughts, all the reasons. Through awareness, I can see beyond the previously limited perspective. And I just wanted to give one more bonus, which is dropping into that present moment. I know it sounds cheesy, you've probably heard it before, but as Eckhart likes to say in The Power of the Now, just being here and now changes the experience of the task. Just consider how often you are really being present when you work on the task, compared to half your mind is there and half your mind wants to do something else to get that quick fix, or the quick feeling of I've done something, I've accomplished something. And so you're not giving it your all. And when you're not giving it your all, you aren't really doing anything at all. You're not really doing it as well as you could have if you did give it your all, which requires you to drop everything else and to give that one thing your all. And so desiring to do things means you are in a partial state of agitation. And by desiring to do, you really aren't doing all that much. But when you can drop that, when you can decide something, and when you can commit to that thing, that's when I think you'll notice you'll get a lot more done. The things that you do will be more aligned, and you'll be more interested, satisfied, and operating from a place of increased fulfillment in those tasks.